Hi friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I thought it would be the perfect day to do the library lover book tag since I did successfully pick up one of Abby Jimenez's books. This just recently came to me through my local library and I'm super excited to read this. I know that Just for the Summer just came out and I've heard nothing but great things about Abby Jimenez, so I'm super excited to read this book and see what it's all about. I'm actually going in and having zero clues, zero thoughts whatsoever on what this book is about, and I'm just ready for a great surprise. So I thought it would be just a great time to also do the library book lover tag. I believe I saw this originally on Bonnie Nicole's channel. I'll have her information in the cards and description as always. And yeah, let's get started. I'm just so excited. I'm ready to dig into this book, but I have a lot of library books to go through, so you'll probably see me do a vlog video desperately trying to finish all my books before they're due, because I think they are due like at the end of the month. So I need to wrap all of them up, finish this book, and get it all returned before I get that little due fee, late fees. All right, so the first question is, how often do I visit my local library? And with the inclusion of picking up this book along with creating my library card, I have visited the library a total of 4 times. Now, hear me out. It is simply because I am an ebook girly, so a lot of the time I use my library resources and access a lot of the ebooks via Libby or Hoopla. As a result, I don't really need to go to the library and physically pick up any of my books. I could just stay at home and download those books into my Kindle, which has been a huge lifesaver, to be honest, just because this particular library is a little bit out of the way for me, so I can't easily access. Okay, can't easily access is a stretch, but it is out of the way from my normal routines, including going to work and going grocery shopping. So it's definitely out of the way for me to visit, but I'm hoping to change that in the future, especially a couple of video ideas I have, such as going to the library and just picking up books from there as if I would go to a bookstore and shop, just because I love the idea of picking up books from the bookstore, but a lot of the times I just end up with books I don't really enjoy, and I think the library is a great alternative to that. So definitely keep an eye out for a video like that in the future. Question number 2, am I the type of person who will check out more books than I know I can read, or am I the person who will check out exactly the amount of books I know I can read before they are due? Generally, I like to borrow the exact amount of books I know I can read before they are due, simply because I get really stressed out from the due date and I'm just so afraid that I won't be able to read everything I have before the due date. So more likely than not, I would actually check out less than I know I can read, just because I just want to have that little safe buffer zone. So funny enough, for the month of May, I'm actually struggling to finish all the books I borrowed from the library. Usually I'm pretty good at it and I'm on top of it, but this month I kind of kept accepting all the books that came in instead of toggling the deliver it to me later in like 7 days or so, because I thought I could read it all, but I am a little overwhelmed. I might make a video for the next week of a vlog of me just powering through the 5 books I have in my Libby queue right now so that I can get them returned as soon as possible. I believe they are due like on the 27th or the 28th of May. So I have a lot of books to read. I think I have Divine Rivals, Butcher and Blackbird, and then 2 more books on top of the Abby Jimenez Truly Yours book. So I have a lot on my plate and I really need to get cracking on reading. I have been still consistently reading, but I think what has happened is that the latest book I read, which is Front Desk, was so heartbreakingly realistic and so relatable that I took a lot of time to read it and digest it and just felt the emotion I was feeling when I was reading the book. And as a result, I don't think I read at my usual reading speed, which is probably why I felt like my reading queue felt unexpectedly like dragged out. So hopefully this weekend I'm able to read through a lot of the books that I currently have in my Libby queue and just get them all out of the way. I'm hoping to finish at least 1 or 2 books this weekend. So the next question is, how old was I when I got my first library card? And I know as a fact that I got it around the age of 8 or 9, and it was at the San Francisco Public Library. It was the biggest library there. And the reason why I remember this so distinctly was because I knew what book I wanted when I went into the library. And it was the Poppy series. And the reason why I remember it so clearly was that our teacher was reading to us as a read along in class, and we would only go through 1 or 2 chapters a day. And I was so invested in the adventure story of that book that I just wanted to know what happened next. So that weekend, my parents took me to the library. I checked out those 3 books in the series and probably finished them all that whole weekend and knew everything that happened when we went back to class on Mondays. So that was when I first got my library card, and it opened me up to a world of books basically. So question number 4 is, do I go to the library to check out a particular book, or will I just pick up anything that piques my interest? And the answer to this is that I almost always go to the library to pick up a particular book. I am not a browser, or nowadays I'm not so much a browser as I am a person who know what I want to read with my never-ending TBR list. So nowadays I just put something in the Libby queue, or I put something into the library holds, and once they come onto my turn, I would pick it up at the library. So almost always I go into the library with an exact thought in mind, knowing exactly what I want to pick up. However, as I said in the beginning, I am hoping to do something a little bit more different next time and actually go to the library and browse it as I would at any old regular bookstore and pick up books that interest me. Because more likely than not, a lot of the times that I browse bookstore, I try my best not to purchase anything because I have been burned too many times. But that is not the case at your local library, because if you don't like it, you could just return it. So the next time I'm at my local library, that is definitely something that I want to try out. So question number 5 is, do I use my local library to check out only books, or do I check out other things such as ebooks, audiobooks, movies, etc.? And honestly, majority of the time, I am checking out books or ebooks, and you guys probably already know this. However, I know that my local library offers a variety and a huge range of other things, and I really want to take advantage of it. So some things that I really want to check out in my local library pretty soon is their sewing machine and their 3D printer. I'm lucky enough to be near a library that has those things, and I feel like it would be a shame just to not take advantage of it. I actually don't think it's very commonly used either. Something that I really want to do is to make a little Kindle sleeve for my Kindle. I've seen it all around Etsy, and I really want to make one for myself. I did purchase one a long time ago. However, I think it would just be fun to make a little Kindle sleeve, and I think the pattern to just make a rectangular sleeve is supposed to be fairly easy. So that is something that I think I'm going to try to pick up as a hobby to try, especially since they have the sewing machine there for you to use. So I don't really need to have heavy investments to start sewing or learning how to sew. On top of this, my local library also has access to passes for our state park and passes to our local museums and libraries. So it'll probably save me a lot of money for any day trips that I plan to have in the future. I didn't realize this until I got my library card, and I'm super stoked about it. That means that this summer I have basically a full agenda of things I can do for basically free. And honestly, it would be all thanks to my local library. So I highly recommend checking out your local library. It might not be very obvious at first, so definitely talk to the librarians and the people at the resource center. They can tell you about much more than just books that they have on hand. Sometimes they might even have pots and pans you can borrow to cook. Moving on to question number 6 is, what type of genre do I generally check out majority of my books? And right on top of my head, I know that it's going to be fiction, romance, and adult books. For me, however, I am really trying to expand my reading genre and what I enjoy, simply because I feel like I haven't really read a lot of genre and a lot of books in my lifetime. So what I've been doing is actually receiving a lot of recommendations from fellow YouTubers, and if they are definitely out of my comfort zone, but I hear the description and just hearing how much the YouTuber like it, I will generally more likely than not add it to my Libby queue or add it onto my library holds. And that way I can expand my reading range, but also support my local library and not have to waste money buying a book that I may or may not like. As always, people's tastes are different, but I'm willing to try and dabble and try different genres. And the library is a great way for me to do so without spending a single dime. And for that, I'm so appreciative appreciative of our local libraries. Now, on to the last question is, what is my favorite thing about the library? And you've probably just heard me gush about how much I love my local library for allowing me to try different genre, but at heart, I love data, I love statistics, so my favorite part of the whole experience of going to the library is seeing how much money I save from borrowing books in the library versus actually purchasing it. Honestly, I always feel so good when I see the amount of money I have saved from just checking out a book from the library, and as that number grow with the months that I started collecting the data, it gets better and better for me. Maybe I'm just a huge data nerd, maybe I just love numbers, or maybe I just love money. Whatever it is, that is probably my favorite part about going to the library, just the amount of money I save, but also the fact that the library allows reading to be such an inexpensive hobby, because I have dabbled in a lot of hobbies in my whole life, and I would have to say that reading has been extremely accessible and inexpensive due to our local library, and I cannot support them more than enough. It's definitely something that I'm so glad to see that my taxpayer dollars are going towards, because they have been such a good resource for me as a child, and now that I'm an adult, they are still saving me money for my reading hobby and allowing me to explore the world of literature and going into different worlds of books and just having a good time reading. So a little bit cheesy, but that's probably why I love my local library so much, and I will continue to support them as much as I can. Anyways, that is it for the library lover book tag. Thank you so much for staying with me and listening to me ramble about how much I love my local library. If you like this tag and you want to do it, consider yourself tagged. I want to spread the awareness of our local library and all the resources it provides. So please go ahead and do the tag and let me know in the comment section so I can also check out your video, because I love listening and hearing about everyone's experiences and joys about their local library. And that is it for my video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you also like your local library. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!